I'm Kit, and this is Caleb.
And we're the Trophy Bros.
Welcome to our podcast.
Listen as we share our crazy,
Off the wall,
and oftentimes ridiculous thoughts.
enjoy the episode.
Welcome back to Trophy Bros. I'm Caleb. This is Kit. And we are Hello Moto. We are talking about the evolution of the cell phone, this little computer in our pockets. It's one of the things that kind of love to hate it type time.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Love-hate relationship.
yeah, so last time we talked about the 4th of July, and we've kind of committed to doing one of those things of backlashes and recaps and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, we hadn't had anybody really kind of hate on us or anything like that.
Nothing that stuck out to me that was like, oh yeah, we should say that. So
We did
it
have-
as a win.
Yeah, nobody that we knew blew off any fingers or anything like that,
No,
other than President Trump almost having his
ear
ear.
shot off. Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Yeah, we did
was
have the
crazy.
home run derby. That's very patriotic type thing.
Yeah, it was a good one too.
Yeah,
It was.
all-star game. So
Yeah.
But moving on into our evolution of cell phones.
Cell phone.
Pull up my notes real quick that we have. So how old were you when you got your very first cell phone?
Oh man, I was probably way older than everybody else. I don't recall getting my first true cell phone until I was a senior in high school.
Let me back up a little bit. Do you remember a time where cell phones didn't exist?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, because now
You talking about like this cell phone or cell phone like bagging of
I just
bag
meant
phones?
cell phones in general.
I mean, I remember like bag phones. My mom had a bag phone.
But do you remember a time before bag phones?
Yeah. I was second grade when we got our bag phone, so I remember before that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, how did we ever get along without without cellular phones?
Yeah, I know.
In general.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Like,
But I mean, like I said, I personally did not have a cell phone until I was a senior in high school.
yeah,
And so, like, I had the prepaid thing, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to waste money on this, And so yeah, I didn't get a cell phone until I was senior in high school. And so like to me, yeah, like I didn't use my mom. I didn't care to use my mom's phone or anything like that. And so, yeah, I remember quite vividly not having a time before cell phones.
So when was it that people around you started having cell phones though?
It's probably like 8th, 9th grade
Yeah.
when people started getting them.
So did you feel left out?
No, because it was more of like, here's your cell phone, here's so I can keep track of you. That way I can answer. And I was like, oh, I still have the freedom because I don't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
So I ain't got to worry about nobody checking up on me. So that's how I kind of took it, But no, I didn't. Like I said, I really didn't care.
See, nowadays, like if a kid doesn't have a phone, it's like they're
the loser.
They're the loser.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they got to have the top of the line phone too.
Yeah, they can't have no cheap flip phone
No.
or jitterbug phone.
No.
Yeah, I see. For me, like you said, your mom got a bag phone like when you were in like second grade.
Yeah.
And like to me, the bag phone was like one of the very first phones,
Yeah.
mobile phones type things that were out there.
Just another purse.
Yeah, and so that's kind of when it was. Like, but for me, I got my very first phone. I think was like when I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. But that's like when a mobile phone really became a mainstream.
Yeah.
To where it wasn't like outrageous.
Yeah.
For you to have a phone. My mom had a bag phone probably when I think I was in junior high. And that's when probably when your mom had got it, well, like when you were in second grade.
Yeah.
Like about that same time. So for me to get like a Nokia phone.
The brick.
Yeah. It wasn't a Zach Morris phone.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a Zach Morris phone. It was like the traditional Nokia, blue Nokia that a lot of people had. I mean, I was a freshman in high school, and that's about the same time I started driving.
Yeah.
I got my cell phone. And so, I mean, for me, that was kind of it. Like I was the cool kid to have a cell phone back then.
Yeah.
But my parents wanted me to have one like when I started driving and stuff like that. So how? Let me ask you this: those were that was a thing for us. Like we had one when we were that age, more or less for a reason. In case something happened, it was for our protection. It was for a necessity. How old? We have kids now. How old were they when they got their first phone?
They didn't get their phones. I hate to say it like this, but I think it was third grade when they all got their phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me. Was there a reason why they got their phone?
Well, I mean, technology has just advanced so much to where, I mean, they use, I say, well, Caden does. Caden does use a lot of for like research and stuff like that. Like he'll read, then he'll type something up on his Chromebook or whatever. Instead of having to, flip back and forth from screen to screen or whatever, he'll just have both screens pulled up. But honestly, no. I mean, I say no. I mean, my kids are very active and so there's a lot of times we have to split and conquer, and sometimes there's times they have to go with people that aren't mom and dad or Poppy and Lily or Grammy or whoever, and so just to be able to stay in touch with them was the main reason. So
it wasn't just necessarily for the phone aspect. It was for more of the entertainment.
Yeah, more the entertainment aspect. And I mean, if you're going to pay for the internet package, you might as well just go ahead and get it and be done with it,
Yeah. And I get that. Like for us, it's like my kids didn't have an actual cell phone until they were in like eighth grade.
Yeah.
And then like even then we put like some serious restrictions on it. Like we had a program like Bark or something like that didn't allow them to go to certain websites. It didn't, and if they did, we got bombarded with emails and notifications of like this website had this word on it. It had like they did research for like Pilgrim Pride and it said chicken breast, and so we got a bunch of this word was on here.
Yeah.
Or they watched a YouTube video that had scantily clad and all this, or had a cuss word in it. I mean, we just got so many things, which I'm glad, and we wanted that. We wanted to protect our kids from certain things, but when they got a phone, they had those kind of restrictions. But I will say this, like my son went with me to work in the first 2 years of his life. Like when my wife was working, she's a nurse, so she worked a weird schedule, like 2 days in a row, and then she was off. And so those 2 days that she worked, if it was during the work week for me, he came to work with me. So we had like an iPad, not an iPad, like a iPod Touch.
Oh yeah.
Like that looked like a phone.
That looks like a phone, yeah.
Yeah, and so he, like at one point, it was like that, like a phone that had like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse on it.
Yeah.
So he's very adverse in technology.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't a phone per se.
Yeah.
It was just something for him to watch, like a mini TV.
I will say now, like, especially where we live, I mean, where we live. We kind of live way out in the boondocks there. And so it's nice that we can leave our kids and they have their phones to, if something was to happen, heaven forbid. I mean, we can, at least drop what we're doing and get out there pretty quick. I say pretty quick, 15, 20 minutes. But
well, nowadays people don't have landlines anymore.
No, we don't have landlines. So I don't even think there's opportunity to get a landline where we live. So
yeah. Well, you think about it too. We just went to Washington D.C. A couple of weeks ago, and so we went to the Smithsonian. And they had this exhibit called "The Evolution of the Cell Phone," and so that's kind of what spurred this episode. And they had kind of the different things that a cell phone can do. That it kind of eliminated the process of it. And so you think about all the different things that a cell phone does.
Man, it has really transformed.
And so they had each item that a cell phone can do. I mean, and it was a wall just full of things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's a map.
Yeah. It's
a tape measure.
Yeah. I've used it quite a few times.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a computer, so, I mean, it's an endless thing of whatever you can find on the internet.
Yeah.
It's a cookbook.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So you have all of these things that are on here that this thing right here, this cell phone can be. It's a level. Like, I mean, what kind of construction tool is this thing right here? Is this cell phone? But we did an episode on reels and stuff like that too a while back. I found a reel that had an old commercial. I think I sent it to you of bag phones, and it was talking about I think it may have even been an old commercial, old news, a news cast of cell phones, and it was talking about uh, mobile phones of the mobile phones of the future. You can have this bag phone that's like $6,000.
Yeah, it was stupid about
Yeah,
back then.
$6,000 for a bag phone. But you can also get this mobile phone that goes in your car, and you can glue this antenna on your back windshield and put it into your car, plug it into your cigarette lighter for
yeah.
$3,500.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you serious?
That's crazy.
And
I mean, I wonder what that would translate in today's currency.
yeah, well, I mean, you think about our phones that we have now. I mean, we pay for it with through our bill over a time.
I mean, you really don't think about it.
But we pay like our cell
Thousands,
phones. Yeah, it's like $2,000 for an iPhone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or more. I mean, if
Yeah.
you get the iPhone Pro Max and all that.
15 Chrome Pro, yeah.
I mean, it's probably $3,000 for that. But I mean, you think about the technology more that's into those things versus what the bag phone was.
Yeah.
And it's a lot smaller and compact. I mean,
Fits in your pocket.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's looking at that exhibit at the Smithsonian, it just blows your mind how many things we just take for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically, I mean, they could have had a doctor standing there because it's WebMD.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about all of the different apps. It's a calendar, it's a calculator. I mean, all of these things. I mean, if we could sit here and we could name all of the different things that this little device does and it has the capabilities of, but it's just incredible. It's gone from a bag phone to a brick phone to a flip phone to a slide phone to a smartphone to a smart watch.
Yeah.
Even like, I mean, I'm wearing a smart watch now that I can even answer the phone on my wrist.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone that far in technology. And so it has the creation of the smartphone, has this creation of the smartphone or the cell phone helped or hurt our society?
I think that's a kind of a double-edged sword there. I think it's done both
Yeah.
in some circumstances. I mean, helped our society. I mean, just think. I mean, now you got basically a mobile computer in your pocket, and you, like we said, you can basically kind of do anything and everything with it. But then again, I've seen cell phones, be the reason why people get hurt.
Yeah.
People commit suicide. I mean, just over cyberbullying or whatever the case may be. And so, I mean, you kind of got to look at it as both. It's helped and hurt.
Yeah.
And so, I want to say, I would think to say more help, but I mean,
it's created jobs. I mean,
Yeah.
for people to be able to develop and create and to build phones, for one thing. It's, developers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's another industry for people to develop, app developers and stuff like that. But I also think, how much has it robbed kids of being able to go outside?
oh, yeah, tons.
I mean, I look at my kids, like my daughter Sophie sits on the couch and like has me days,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and she spends all day on a couch looking at her phone, which, I mean, we try to guard her from doing that. And she goes outside and she plays volleyball and she's active. She's very active, but occasionally she has a me day.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's
Wow.
nothing wrong with that on occasion, but I'm sure there's kids and there's people who don't have that discipline,
Yeah, for sure.
that just are state of vegetation, that just stay on a couch, and they don't have that lifestyle that keeps them active because of that phone.
Yeah, I mean that, and plus, I mean, just kind of, I mean, it's scary out there. It really is. I mean, just the amount of predators and stuff that can
Yeah,
use. I mean, and I'll be completely honest. Like, my son was a victim of it,
Yeah.
and so, I mean, that was a very, very scary time in our life, and we learned from it, and corrected it, and put some more
Safeguards.
safeguards
Yeah.
and stuff like that in place. But you know, I mean, that was just a simple catfish situation there, and it's just, I mean, it was scary, you know,
Yeah.
and never in a million years, oh, that's not going to happen to my kid. And
No.
all of a sudden, it happens, and you're like, I mean, we were thrown for a big loop.
Yeah.
I mean, it shook us.
Yeah.
So
The scams are endless. I mean,
constant.
it gives you it's a whole nother battlefield that you have to face. I mean, especially with kids, social media, like you said, bullying. I mean, if you could just take the good and leave out the bad, man, it would be tremendous.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I also see how, I mean, business wise, you can use it for a tool that, man, can bring your business to the next level.
Oh yeah. I've seen quite a few things. I mean, and not only business wise, but I mean home wise.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know like you have your phone connected to your garage.
Yeah.
And so like you can keep an eye on, you know, who's coming in and out of your house and stuff like that. And I think that's tremendous. Like it's super helpful. And I mean, and like business side, you know,
somebody just came to my door while we were doing our podcast and I could see who it was.
Yeah. And like business side, I mean, we use it for, you know, doing receipts real fast and, you know, we'll email it out or whatever, bids. I mean, I mean, that's come a long way since, you know, having to write it out on paper and doing all that. So it's, you know, it's made a huge difference in our business as well.
Well, I know even for my son, he's going into his senior year playing baseball, recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's able to connect with college coaches and they connect with him through an app, the NCSA collegiate baseball app. And so they connect with him.
Yeah.
I mean, and so for us, that's golden.
Yeah. That's made it, I'm sure, so easy.
Yeah. So coaches that are up in the Pacific Northwest are able to connect with him. Those who are in the Atlantic, I mean, we've had probably 6 coaches up in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania area that have reached out to him. Yeah. That we would never have had that opportunity.
And it's probably schools that you probably never even heard of too. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And it's like, and here they are willing to possibly offer a scholarship. And it's like, that's made it so much easier and
the opportunities are there that would never have been there. So, I mean, that's just tremendous. But at the same time, if you're not careful, it will eat your lunch and they will scam you in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
So having lived a couple of decades with a cell phone, do you think you could go back to life without one?
Man, I would like to say I could. I try to be a very simple man. Or simple person. Sorry, that sounded really conceited.
I'm a simple man.
So, no,
Forrest Gump over here.
No, I really like to think that I am. I mean, but there's a lot of, especially like a lot of family members and stuff that I keep up with through Facebook and stuff like that. And so I think that'd be kind of, because I mean, I do talk to like my cousin Terry quite a bit through Facebook and Messenger and stuff like that. And so, I mean, that part would probably be the hardest part. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I think I could. I would like to say I would.
Yeah.
Times would be so much simpler.
Oh, yeah.
You would think.
Yeah, there's times I wish I could just chunk my phone into the woods.
Man.
And then I think,
I have to go pick it up.
It's like, I'm so bored. What would I do on the toilet?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I got to see Caleb this real.
But then I think, like, how would we do this podcast too?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, because I use my phone every podcast.
I mean, there's
for my notes.
We do so much. I mean, we don't realize that it's become an extension of who we are almost.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of sad. I mean, we see. You know, just going to a big city, like we've gone to Washington here recently, but we've been to Boston. We've gone to bigger, like you go to Dallas, Fort Worth, and all these other. But if you just stand in like these big downtown cities, you just stand there.
Yeah,
you will see everybody has their phone out. We used our phone as
either looking down at her or to their ear or something. Yeah, everybody.
But we used our phone even as our metro ticket, like when we were going on the metro. Yep. I mean, it is like, it's almost like it's embedded in us.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's almost like culture in our society is even going more and more leaning into it hard. And if you want to get rid of it, I don't think you could.
No, I don't think you could, especially in today's world.
And I think if anybody ever wanted to attack our country, you get rid of our phones. You could take down.
Well, that happened. I mean, not attack, but remember a couple months ago, all the phones were down.
Yeah.
Except for, like my wife, and I'm sure your wife might have it, but she's on that first net.
Yeah.
And so that's like all first responders, like their phones will not go down, even if something happens. But like my phone was down, like it was only in SOS mode.
Yeah.
And
I remember that vaguely.
Yeah. I mean, it was like for a whole half a day almost. And people were like freaking out because they couldn't use their phone. I was like, what? Because I even remember, because I remember I was mowing the hospital. I remember my father-in-law coming out there and saying, hey, is everything okay? I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, you haven't heard? I was like, no. I was like, he said, all the cell phones are down. I was like, well, why is that? Well, why are you asking me if I'm okay then? Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm sitting here on a mower. Like, I'm still able. I was listening to a book I downloaded, luckily. And so it's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I don't need my cell phone to be up for me to be okay, And it's like, he's like, okay, well, I was just checking to make sure everything's good out here. And he's like, your wife's the only one that has service because y'all had that first net stuff. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember everyone just kind of like freaking out because their phones were down.
Yeah. So. The only reason I could go without it is just because I get tired of business calls type stuff. Like, I could do without. Like, I would love for my family just to call or text and stuff like that. But
yeah,
just to get away from, like, all right, I need you to go do this. Can you run over and pick this up? Can you go do this? I'm like, all right, no, you can do that. Take care of your own stuff.
Yeah.
But what do you think about, like, our next generation? Do you think that they could ever get away from it?
I don't think so. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I'll tell another story. Like last night, Callan, granted, he's super tired, right? And like they've been staying up late because it's summer, and he stayed the night with a couple, like his cousins and stuff, the night before, so they didn't go to bed till like 3 or 4. But him and his sister got in a little tussle last night. And,
no way.
Yeah, way. And so he called her stupid or whatever. So I took his phone away for the night, And boy, he had the biggest meltdown over what I considered was me taking his phone away, but he says it's more the fact that he got in trouble for something she did, and he just retaliated. And so, but I was like, oh my gosh, for taking your phone away, you're acting like a lunatic.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think they're going to have a hard time. But ultimately that just boils down to how advanced technology is becoming, to where, I mean, they even have to use it for school. I mean, you're doing math on a laptop now, No. And it's just like they're taking the books away. They've given us these laptops, and, and it's just, so no, I don't think technology wise, they're not ever going to be able to get away and kind of disconnect from it. I say, but
yeah. And that's kind of
because that's like this, one of the frustrating things for me is like Caden will come to me with this math problem and hand me a laptop. I'm like, how are you supposed to figure out a math problem on the laptop?
No.
He's like,
a piece of paper and a pencil.
Yeah. And he's like, well, we just have to kind of do it over here on the side. And I'm like, that's dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. But you taking away a form of discipline is taking away your kid's cell phone, and they freak out.
Yeah. Well, I've done it numerous times.
Yeah. And that's sad. I mean, even as a youth pastor, going to camp, and I dread it. And for the longest time, when we go to youth camp, it would be one of those things to where I would fight it for so long. And I've been doing youth ministry for 25 years. It's one of those things like, don't bring your cell phone. You can have your cell phone, I guess, on the bus, but then we're just going to take it away. We're going to put it in a box, and we'll lock it up. We'll keep it secure. Turn it off. We'll give it back to you when we get on the bus at the end of the week. You can have it back at the end of the week and have it to check out, and it's going to blow up as soon as you turn back on, because you're going to have all these messages and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I finally just quit doing that. And it's like, all right, you can have, probably for the last 8 or 9, 10 years of just, all right, you can have your phone, but here's some rules and some regulations. Don't let it be a distraction type thing. And if I see that it's being a distraction,
it's ours.
Then it's ours. We just don't want it to be that. But
I think for the most part, I mean, it went well this year for sure because it's, like I said, my first year going.
Yeah, and so, but I still put some regulations on it because what happens is that kids will stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning
watching movies,
watching Netflix, and so when it's time to get up at 7:30, they're toast.
Yeah, they're dreaded.
Yeah, they're just toast, and they're worthless the rest of the day until about 3 o'clock, and then they're catching their first win. And so what we do, we take up phones, like we have them just give it to their sponsor, like at 11:30 or midnight when lights out.
Yep.
That way they're just not tempted. But I mean, there's some discipline that has to go with that. And I think if there's not any discipline with a cell phone, and discipline with anything in general, period, but especially with that, you're just gonna have some problems with it. It's gonna lead to other things, and I don't know. You see people, you see things like when people are on their phones and stuff like that, there's going to be this habit of people having like a hunchback from looking down. There's going to be neck problems. People are going to have the cell phone thumbs from like holding their phones, and they're going to have like gorilla thumbs or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all of these different theories. Like people are going to start evolving into this new creature because of the cell phones, of how they hold them, and like they're going to have humpbacks because of the way that they have to look down at their phones and hunched over, and their thumbs are going to be evolving into talons and stuff like this. But I don't know. It's a weird phenomenon. I just wondered, like, what's going to be the next thing that's going to be like the cell phone for us in the future?
Yeah. My question I've always wondered is like, what else can they do with the cell phone? Like, we've done so much with this little thing.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can they add to it to make it better or worse?
Yeah.
It's always like the next question. Like, what else can you do?
Yeah,
and it's like you've already got some of the top of the line cameras in these things that are better than some of the the big Canons or Nikons or whatever.
DSLRs, yeah.
And so I'm just like, what else can we do? Or I mean, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like I said, it's always kind of scary because it's just like,
yeah. I mean, you're looking at like the iPhone. I mean, you really think about it. The iPhone hasn't been around
that long. It really hasn't.
It hasn't been around too terribly long, but it's like we're on iPhone 15.
Yeah.
But it's really like iPhone.
Because they skipped what? 1, 2, really?
Well, I mean, you got iPhone.
Because the main iPhone was the iPhone 3 that, was like the first one.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get the very first one, but I got the one after it. And then that started the journey.
Yeah.
But I didn't get every single one of them.
I didn't either.
Since then, but some people do. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I don't know what you can do. That's
what I'm saying.
Different features, like there's like the Samsung or the Android one where you can circle a thing and then it automatically finds it on the internet or something like that. Different little cool features like that kind of distinguishes them. But like a major feature like touchscreen or anything like that, making it thin or having a transparency, like you always look at different like TV shows that have like, this is what it's going to look like in the future. Yeah. Back to the Future, when it showed like the year 2025 and what it's going to look, we're going to have hover cars and hoverboards.
None of that's here.
None of it's here.
I mean, hoverboards maybe, but not the kind of hoverboard they were thinking.
Yeah, not that kind. I mean, I just wondered, could you ever make like a translucent, like a transparent phone like that?
Yeah.
I mean, Apple makes kind of like the goggles, like the Quest,
the VR, virtual reality.
Yeah,
stuff.
They kind of make that to where it's similar to some of that futuristic stuff, but I mean, it's so overpriced to where it's not really realistic for everybody to be mainstream. Like we have the VR stuff that my son uses for some baseball stuff and some others. We can like watch Netflix through it.
That Oculus or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's cool, but it has its limitations too. So
do you remember like what kind of cell phones you had before the iPhone?
before the iPhone, I had like the Nokia, but
Yeah.
we had the bag phone
Yeah.
in our cars, and we thought we were hot stuff because like I drove my mom's like Nissan Altima that had a bag phone in it. That's what I did my learner's permit in.
Nice.
Drive up to the school with the cord connected to it. Like, yeah, hold on, let me put this down.
Yeah.
Click it in.
Yeah.
And then I had like the Nokia, like played Snake on it.
Yeah.
And I slowly progressed through the Nokias, but did that, had like a Motorola flip phone that you could change the different shells on the outside
Yeah,
of it.
I had that one. That was probably my favorite one, to be honest.
Yeah. So and that's the only Motorola one I ever had. And then I had one that
You never had the Razor?
no, I never had the Razor.
Oh man, my wife was like the Razor queen.
Mindy had the Sliver.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's like where you could put the that's when you could put like music on it.
Yep. Yep. Well, Kaylee had like I said, she was the Razor queen. I mean, every time a new Razor came out, she was in line to get it.
Yeah.
And so, but no, I had like the Nokia, the Motorola, but then I was a big BlackBerry fan when those came out.
Yeah.
So I had the Blackberries there for a while, and I loved those.
I had a Sony, it kind of rotated, had like
Yeah.
a swivel.
Yeah.
It was good for like music.
Yeah.
And then I went to one that like, it was a slider phone that it slid up and then it slid sideways too. It was like,
The Sidekick.
was it a Sidekick?
Yeah, and it had like the whole keypad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It slid up and then
I
it
was
slid
always jealous of that one. I just thought it was so cool.
I had that one and then I progressed from that one to the iPhone.
Yeah.
And my
No,
wife
I
got
had
jealous.
Blackberries all the way up till I got the iPhone, and I just stuck with Blackberries I probably got it like right after high school, and I just stuck with it.
Yeah. I will say I like iPhones. I probably won't. I don't know. I don't think I could ever get away from an iPhone.
You know, I was like totally against iPhones, and like I was the Samsung person. I like the Galaxy. I still like the Galaxy today, but just with all my family having iPhones, it's just easier for
Drink the Kool-Aid.
it's just easier to stay with it with the FaceTime and all that whatnot. But yeah, man.
You're learning. You didn't even know you could like share notes until we started.
I mean, I'm learning stuff still to this day, so it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I looked up some fun facts of the cell phone,
Yeah.
and so do you know that we check our mobile phone about 150 times a day on average?
150 times?
That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you can track how much you use your phone a day, and
Yeah.
that would be. I'm afraid to even look.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure it's dropping the bucket compared to my kids, but
I mean, like I said, I do use mine a lot at work. I listen to music, I listen to books, podcasts.
imagine how many germs are on our phone.
Dude, they said our phones have more germs than a toilet does.
Well, yeah. Well, think about it too. Like, if you ever asked to borrow somebody's phone,
Yeah, we talked about this a couple times, a couple months ago in youth group, and how much germs are on that.
then you put that thing up
To
your face.
right next to your mouth.
Like, that should be like a game that we play in the youth. I dare you to lick somebody else's cell phone.
You know, not this is disgusting, but I've actually had to lick my phone a couple times just to get the screen clean. Then I realized this part of I'm like, but hey, my immune system is so good right now. But yeah, but you
Might
know,
as well be licking a toilet.
yeah, exactly. But you know, we were talking about the addiction. You know that addiction actually has a name.
For a cell phone,
Yeah.
addicted to phone, what is it?
Like if you don't have your phone, it is called nomophobia.
Nomophobia?
Nomophobia. Really, really. It's and you know, this actually says around 200 million human beings suffer from this phobia.
Man, I believe it. I'm surprised it's not more.
Yeah. Then there's another term called ring anxiety. And that means that you basically hear a phone ringing but the phone's not ringing.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you felt your phone vibrate in your pocket? And then,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This morning in church, I was like, oh, did it just go off? And
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. I mean,
But then there's another one called phubbing.
what did you just say?
Phubbing. Phubbing. So how would you say that?
Phubbing?
Phubbing, right? Okay. And this describes the behavior of a person who ignores everything around them while being glued to the phone.
Yeah.
How many people do we know? I'm going to start saying, you're a phubber.
My wife probably would just say that.
You're a phubber.
Yeah. Fibber and a phubber.
I'm going to start using it now. But, yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, my wife would just say that I phubbed her. That sounded really bad.
It did. But you know, there's already more mobile phones in the world than there are humans.
I believe that. I mean,
And think about it. I mean, cell phones really started, I guess, what? They said the first cell phone was like in 1972.
yeah. Oh, there's people that have multiple cell phones that use multiple, so a work phone and a personal phone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's common.
But, you know, like, I guess, so for the first smartphone was 97. But, I mean, think about it. I mean, really, cell phones really haven't been around that long.
Yeah.
And to already have more cell phones than people.
Well, I mean, burner phones.
Well, true. But I'm just saying. I mean, you got to think, I mean,
Yeah.
just in that short amount of time to produce that many phones, more than there are people. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, and just saying burner phone too. How much have we gotten to the point to where you go from a bag phone that at one point was like $6,000 to a burner phone that's so disposable
Yeah.
that we can just like use it a few times and then just stomp on it, chunk it away or whatever. I mean, it's just crazy. I saw some kid I was watching the All-Star game. And one of the little kids like had a disposable camera. And he's like, "What is this?" I'm just playing with it. It's like that kid has no clue what that thing is.
Yeah. You know, there's a phone out in outer space, just floating around. It says that the Google Nexus phone was launched in outer space in 2013.
Yeah, I'd like to throw my phone out into outer space at times.
And they were checking the resistance of the components. That's why they sent it up there.
How's it doing?
It doesn't say.
Good for it.
But it's going around the Earth right now.
Nice.
It's pretty wild. But like I said, I mean, it's wild. It really is to think of how far this thing has come in the short amount of time that it's been relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's insane. And how fast this thing has evolved.
Yep.
So.
Well, man, that's all I got for this episode. The evolution of a cell phone. It's been a journey, and I'm sure it's going to keep on evolving. And hopefully, us as humans don't evolve into some other kind of creature with it. I don't think that's going to happen. The Lord is too good to us.
Right. Absolutely.
As we always do, we always
do.
We end with a win because we're the Trophy Bros, and that's all we do is win.
No matter what.
And so the win for this last time, man, it's summer is coming to an end.
Yes, it is.
And it's been busy. And so I've enjoyed it. The win for us is that, man, we've gotten to do a service project here this past week. We've gone and served a church in Decatur. And so it's been good just to kind of serve in that aspect. But for also this week coming up, we get to welcome in some of our up-and-coming students into our youth group. We call them noobs. And so I'm excited. This week we get to do something that I've never done in noobs, and we're doing a BYOP, bring your own pool party. So I'm kind of excited. I'm banking on it being a win. So that's me. It's going to be fun. BYOP.
Oh, it is. It's going to be a blast.
So that's my win.
Well, mine's kind of on the same lines. You know, this summer, all of my older children, we have an, infant or toddler. But all of my older ones, like Callan, he was actually able to go to church camp this summer. And man, just to see the spiritual growth that they've took this summer has been the biggest win of it all. I mean, it's the fact that are still continuing to grow outside of camp and outside of church, and just the questions they were asking and the stuff they were kind of digging deep into the Bible with is just super uplifting for a father to kind of realize that I'm not screwing them up too bad, and that they can come to Kaylee and I with those questions, and we can help them. And, just as, like I said, just to see their spiritual growth this summer has been a true blessing for us.
Good thing they have a phone to help them too.
Yeah, that too, because they use the Bible app quite often. So yeah, there's another reason to have the Bible app.
Oh man,
that's all I got.
That's all I got too. Till next time, we'll catch you later. We're the Trophy Bros.
See y'all. See y'all.
Thank you for listening to Trophy Bros.
You can reach us through email at TrophyBrosPodcast@gmail.com.
Make sure to also check us out on Facebook.
And if you like our podcast, make sure to like, share, follow, and rate us.
We're the Trophy Bros, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.